The vast majority of early chick mortalities do not actually originate from infectious diseases or pathogens. Instead, the root of the problem often traces back to the very first drink of water that a farmer provides immediately after opening the transport box. If you have ever spent time observing a new batch of birds and noticed a few specific chicks sitting weakly or appearing lethargic while their counterparts are actively running around the brooder, the underlying issue is usually quite straightforward. These birds are suffering from the intense physiological stress and severe dehydration that occurs during the transport process. While providing plain, clear water might offer a small amount of relief, it simply does not have the capacity to fully restore the vital nutrients and energy levels that these young chicks have lost during their journey. In this guide, we are going to explore a specific three-ingredient survival formula that many of the most experienced poultry producers rely on to help their chicks recover at an accelerated rate and significantly lower the rates of early-stage mortality. This solution is incredibly efficient, taking less than 2 minutes to prepare, and it utilizes basic household ingredients that most people already have sitting in their kitchens. For those who are looking for practical, hands-on poultry management advice that is designed to improve real-world results on small-scale farms, this information is essential. This approach is built specifically for farmers who prioritize the health of their birds and want to minimize losses. To understand why this formula is so effective, we must first examine the grueling experiences that chicks go through before they even set foot on your farm. By the time a shipment of chicks finally arrives at your facility, they have already endured several high-stress developmental and logistical stages. The process begins with the act of hatching itself. Breaking out of a thick eggshell is an incredibly demanding physical feat that can take many hours of continuous effort, leaving the chick exhausted from the moment of birth. Following the hatch, these tiny birds are handled by staff, sorted, counted, and eventually packed into specialized transport boxes. From there, they begin the long journey to various farms. Throughout this entire duration, the chicks remain active as they attempt to adjust to the constant movement of the vehicle, the unfamiliar noises of transport, and the fluctuating temperatures of their environment. However, there is a critical factor that many farmers tend to overlook during this window. During the entire transport phase, these chicks are not consuming any water. Their small bodies are rapidly burning through their internal energy reserves and losing vital moisture to the air. Yet nothing is being ingested to replace those losses. Consequently, when the box is finally opened at its destination, a significant portion of the chicks are already experiencing varying degrees of dehydration, dangerously low energy levels, and high levels of systemic stress from the trip. While some birds are resilient enough to recover quickly once they are placed into a warm brooder, others will struggle significantly. This is precisely why the management decisions made during that very first hour of arrival are so critically important to the long-term survival of the flock. Many farmers make the mistake of simply providing plain water. While this seems like a logical first step, plain water only addresses the loss of fluid. It does nothing to correct the energy deficit or the electrolyte imbalance. This is why the composition of that first drink can be the deciding factor in a chick's survival. Let's take a detailed look at the three specific ingredients that work together to help chicks recover their strength. The first essential ingredient is sugar or glucose, which serves as a source of quick, accessible energy. This is the foundational component of a survival drink. After the physical exertion of hatching and the subsequent stress of travel, these chicks have depleted a massive amount of their stored energy. While some may arrive looking active, others are already reaching a point of total exhaustion. While standard poultry feed does provide energy, a weak or lethargic chick may not have the strength or the instinct to move toward the feeder immediately upon arrival. This is where liquid energy becomes a literal lifesaver, as it works much faster than solid food. When a chick consumes a mild sugar solution, the glucose is absorbed almost instantly into the bloodstream, providing an immediate boost to their activity levels. Farmers who use this method often report seeing weak chicks become noticeably more alert and mobile shortly after their first drink. They begin to move around the brooder, explore their new surroundings, and eventually find their way to the feed. However, it is vital to exercise moderation. Providing too much sugar can cause digestive upset or diarrhea, which would only worsen the dehydration. The correct ratio is quite small. For every 1 liter of clean, fresh water, you should add exactly 1 teaspoon of sugar or glucose and mix it until it is completely dissolved. This provides a gentle but effective energy boost that helps the birds overcome the initial shock of transport. However, energy alone is not a complete solution because dehydration also involves the loss of essential minerals. This brings us to the second critical ingredient, salt, which provides necessary electrolyte support. When a chick loses body fluids through respiration and stress, they are also losing electrolytes that are responsible for regulating fluid balance and nerve function within their bodies. One of the most vital electrolytes in this process is sodium. By adding a very small, precise amount of salt to the water, you help restore the chick's sodium levels and drastically improve their ability to rehydrate. Without these electrolytes, water may simply pass through the bird's system without being properly absorbed into the cells to restore balance. This explains why some chicks may continue to appear weak even if they are seen drinking plain water. Adding just a tiny pinch of salt transforms the water into a basic, homemade electrolyte solution. This concept is very similar to the expensive commercial electrolyte powders used in large-scale poultry operations to replace minerals lost during periods of high stress. The mixture at this stage should consist of 1 liter of clean water, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1 small pinch of salt. This combination already provides a strong foundation for energy recovery and cellular hydration. But there is one final factor to consider: the health of the chick's developing digestive system. The third and final ingredient in our survival formula is either apple cider vinegar or fresh lemon juice. It is important to remember that a chick's digestive system is still in a very delicate state of development during the first few days of its life. Supporting the balance of the gut microbiome early on can help the birds transition much more smoothly into a routine of consistent feeding and rapid growth. A time-tested method used by many successful farmers involves adding a small amount of an acidic component like apple cider vinegar or lemon juice to the drinking water. These ingredients work by slightly lowering the pH level of the water, making it more acidic. A mildly acidic environment in the digestive tract is beneficial because it supports healthy digestion and helps to inhibit the growth of harmful bacteria that could otherwise overwhelm a stressed chick. As with the other ingredients, the amount must remain very small, just enough to provide gentle support to the gut without being overpowering. Therefore, the final, complete survival formula is as follows: 1 liter of clean water, 1 teaspoon of sugar, a pinch of salt, and either 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar or a few drops of lemon juice. This specific combination addresses energy recovery, electrolyte balance, and digestive health all at once. However, having the mixture ready is only half of the battle. How the chicks are actually introduced to the water is just as important as the formula itself. The first 30 minutes after the box is opened are vital. Preparation must happen before the chicks even arrive. The brooder should be fully set up and stabilized with a warm temperature, dry bedding, filled drinkers, and accessible feed. When chicks are placed into a brooder that is already prepared, they settle in much faster and with less stress. Once you begin placing the birds inside, you must actively help them find the water source. A common and highly effective technique is to gently take each chick and dip the very tip of its beak into the drinker. You are not trying to force water down their throats. You are simply showing them exactly where the water is located. Chicks are fast learners, and once a few individuals begin to drink, the rest of the flock will naturally follow their lead. Within just a few minutes, you should observe a noticeable increase in activity throughout the brooder. You want to see the chicks moving around, chirping softly and steadily, and exploring their environment. These are the primary signs that the birds are settling in well and recovering from their journey. Monitoring the behavior of the flock during these initial hours is a skill that every farmer must develop. If you see the chicks huddling tightly together in a single mass, it is a clear signal that the brooder temperature is too cold. Conversely, if they are staying as far away from the heat source as possible, the environment is likely too hot. Observing these behaviors early on allows you to make the necessary adjustments before they turn into larger, more lethal problems. Experienced poultry keepers will usually stay with their new flock for a significant amount of time after arrival to monitor these subtle signs, knowing that small corrections made during the first hour can protect the health of the entire group. Another common question is when to introduce solid feed. While many farmers feel a sense of urgency to provide food immediately, hydration must always be the first priority. Water is what stabilizes the chicks' internal systems after the long journey. Once the chicks have had a chance to drink and are moving around with normal energy levels, the feed can then be introduced. A chick that is properly hydrated will eat more effectively and be able to digest its feed much better than one that is struggling with dehydration. This also ensures that the weaker chicks have recovered enough strength to compete for space at the feeder alongside the stronger birds. Without this crucial hydration step, the more dominant chicks may take over the feeders while the weaker ones fall further behind, creating a gap in growth that can persist for the rest of the birds' lives. A simple, disciplined sequence works best. First hydration, then feed. This ensures every bird starts from a position of strength. The reason the first day matters so much is that it sets the tone for the entire performance of the flock. Chicks that are able to recover quickly from transport stress will begin eating sooner, and earlier feeding directly correlates to better long-term growth and a more robust immune system. Flocks that get off to a strong start are generally more active, more uniform in their physical size, and much easier to manage as they age. On the other hand, chicks that are allowed to struggle during those first few hours often remain permanently disadvantaged compared to the rest of the group. While farmers sometimes try to fix these issues later on by using expensive supplements or medications, prevention is always the more effective and affordable route. This is why seasoned poultry experts focus so heavily on the arrival process, the preparation of the brooder, and careful observation. These small intentional actions create the strong foundation necessary for a successful flock. One of the most valuable skills you can acquire in poultry farming is the ability to read your birds. Healthy, thriving chicks will spread out comfortably across the entire brooder area. They will move fluidly between the heat source, the feeders, and the drinkers. Their vocalizations should be soft, rhythmic, and steady. However, when something is wrong, chicks are very quick to show it through their behavior. Loud, continuous, or high-pitched chirping is often a sign of distress or discomfort. Crowding together in corners or under the lamp usually indicates cold stress, while staying far from the heat may mean the temperature is excessive. If you see chicks sitting quietly with a drooping posture or closed eyes, they require immediate attention. Farmers who train themselves to pay attention to these early warning signs can intervene quickly and avoid large-scale losses. When you combine this level of observation with thorough preparation and the proper hydration formula, the result is a much higher survival rate for your chicks. Building a successful poultry operation begins with making small, correct decisions every single day. One of the most impactful decisions you will make is choosing what the first drink will be for your chicks when they arrive on your farm. Instead of relying on plain water alone, using a simple homemade recovery mixture can help your birds regain their energy, restore their internal hydration, and support their developing digestive systems. The formula is easy to remember and even easier to make. 1 liter of clean water, 1 teaspoon of sugar, a pinch of salt, and a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar or a few drops of lemon juice. If you have this prepared in advance, it takes less than 2 minutes to implement, but the benefits are long-lasting. It helps your chicks start stronger, settle into their new home faster, and ultimately grow into a healthier flock. Successful poultry farmers understand that they cannot leave these critical moments to chance. They manage them with precision and care. The first hour of a chick's life on your farm is, without a doubt, one of the most important moments you will ever manage. In our upcoming discussion, we will explore another vital stage where many farmers lose birds without ever understanding the cause: the end of the first week. Understanding the challenges of that specific stage can save even more of your flock from unnecessary loss. If this guide has changed the way you look at those critical first moments in the brooder, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. We are dedicated to uncovering the practical farming wisdom and historical techniques that often get overlooked in modern agriculture. We are here to help you grow a better future, one bird at a time. Stay tuned because the next chapter in our poultry masterclass will be opening very soon.